This is the Simpit. I'm your host, Sean Cole, and welcome to the Pit Stop, where you are the real star of today's show, because if it weren't for you, the pit crew, we'd have nothing to talk about. But we are here to cover today's sim racing news, all that's going on in our favorite hobby or sport, sim racing. So let's get to the news, see what we got going on. Anything you guys want to talk about, I'm always open to cover any stories that you would know about. Some of the stories today came from some of your guys' suggestions. I get emails every day from the pit crew now, Sean at thesimpit.com, with your guys' stories that you might have caught that maybe I missed. So let's go ahead and talk about what's going on today. We've mentioned already the Assetto Corsa Bonus Pack 3. It is coming out December 20th, and it's going to be free. So this is free content, not paid content. And you will be able to get the new Alfa Romeo along with a handful of other cars. And I would imagine that with this being a free content pack, free bonus pack, I would imagine that we're going to expect to see some changes to the sim as well. I would imagine that this is sort of cloaking a big update. Now, that's speculation on my part, but it would make sense that if you're going to put out a bonus pack free to everybody, that you might as well pick a timing to get a bunch of other things installed into the sim. So, the Alfa Romeo, it's a beautiful car. This is like right before they got gorgeous, I think, or right after they were gorgeous. Still a fine looking car. Old school, absolutely the heritage of what we all love. And when you look at the modern, you know, little roadsters, you know, this is the image that they've recreated with those kind of cars. So, again, it should be cool. Love free content. Always making Assetto Corsa better, and that is good for all of us. Next up, Project Cars 2. They did a write-up, and so I'm going to give a shout-out to Steam King here. He's our statistician, and anytime we go to a track, he gives us lots of stats. Project Cars did something really interesting. This is worth going to if you just want a little history of Donington. But if you go to Project Cars Twitter, you'll see this story here talking about Donington Park, and that will take you to this. And this is an entire write-up on the history of Donington Park. And I've been known to do some historic pieces on new content when it comes out, but they did a better job than even I. They did some serious research and give you the full story behind Donington and what makes it a special racetrack in our world today. They even finish up with giving you suggestions on cars within Project Cars 2 that are fun to run at Donington. So it is a cool approach, and I like the idea that they're just kind of going a different route, getting you into, inspiring you to get out there and race. And so if you read this article and you're a Project Cars 2 fan, I guarantee you by the end of the article, it's pretty hard to not want to get out there on track at Donington and see how you compare. So, no, but it almost looks like it was by Steam King, doesn't it? You would think so, huh? El Bucho with a new skin today. All right, awesome. Anyway, not really a big thing that you can go do, but I would read it. If you're bored today and you just want to know the history of Donington, this is one of the best write-ups you're going to read, and it's well worth the time. Next up, so we talked about the voting for the best games of the year. Red Bull Games, their opinion poll, their public opinion poll on the best games, best racing games it was supposed to be. Number 10, Wipeout Omega Collection. Number 9, Gear Club. Number 8, Mario Kart. Number 7, Need for Speed Payback. Number 6, WRC7. That's probably not very happy. I bet they're not very happy about that ranking. Number 5, Forza Motorsport 7. Number 4, Gran Turismo Sport. So in the opinion poll, GT Sport beats out Forza. Number 3, Dirt 4. So Codemaster's in there with Dirt 4. Project Cars 2 gets the number 2 spot, and the game of the year on Red Bull's games goes to F1 2017. So I like to think of this opinion poll, and it was a little different than ours, just picking straight up the best game, and I like to think about how it translates to our pizza poll. Obviously, some of the newer games like Assetto Corsa, or other games like R Factor 2, Assetto Corsa iRacing didn't come out this year, so they're irrelevant in this category. I dare say that all those sims made as many advances in their sims as some of these games have made as a brand new launch title. When we start looking down further down the list to some of these, it's like, well, how much really went into them? Anyway, that's at Red Bull Games. Their Twitter feed, redbull.com. They have a games section, and that's where you'll find those results. But interesting to see, and congratulations to Codemasters for getting 2 of the 3 top spots on this poll. F1 2017, certainly a good game. Project Cars 2, certainly a good game. Dirt 4, certainly a good game. Gran Turismo, Forza, WRC 7. So you look all the way through the top 6 games of the year, and they're all pretty quality games. I don't have a lot to complain about any of them. I haven't played WRC 7, but from what I've heard from others, it's a pretty decent game. Next up, Advent Calendar, and I'm probably covering, this never works. This is the last time I'm going to cover the Advent Calendar because it always bugs out. Club Sport V3s are on today's list, and I do understand they changed the way they're doing the auction. So I guess this wheel, the CSL Elite, went for like $159, which, so now we're closer to that 50% pricing. Instead, it was literally pennies on the dollar in the beginning, and they changed the format, so I guess you can re-vote. No, it's not a vote. Rebid. And that's driving the prices a little bit higher, but still some incredibly significant deals to be had. So between now and Christmas, if you're looking for some Fanatec gear, I would check that out before I go spending my full price on things. Anyway, this comes from one of you guys out there. This is actually from the man. I'll give him credit where credit is due. This is a whole article at Reuters, which is, you know, as big as it gets in the world of news, talking about F1 teams lobbying for positions in esport. And the logic or thinking behind it being, and this is something I've been kind of talking about, when it comes to professional ranks, you think of the NFL, National Football League here in America. There are a handful of franchises that get to have teams. You can't just enter a team. You need to be part of the system. You need to be part of the structure, or it's no-go. You then need to be drafted onto one of those existing teams. Some of our sim racing teams out there are known great teams, and if they're on the front edge, maybe they'll be lucky enough. But what if Formula One comes into the picture and says, no, McLaren, Ferrari, we're going to have the esport racing teams. So now the biggest organization, and this is all in theory, this is just things that we need to think about in the future. What if all the pro teams come in, lobby with the esports, and say, no, we want to be the franchise teams, and from there we will do the job of promoting or recruiting sim racers? Is that fair? Is this our terrain? Is this our world to begin with? Do teams like Redline, Apex, Avid, Chronic, hello Mitchie, do those teams, in my opinion, they have the right to the first franchise positions, not Ferrari and McLaren? And that doesn't mean that I'm not a Formula One fan. It doesn't mean that I'm not a Ferrari or McLaren fan. It just means this is our world. What do you mean you're going to create? So, and at the same time, would we as sim racers be better served by F1 teams having those positions? Maybe it's better to be recruited by Ferrari. So today you race with Redline, you're one of those guys, and you get a call saying, hey, Bono, we would really like you to come be on our team. And he is recruited by Ferrari or McLaren. Anyway, food for thought. Love to hear your guys' opinion or thought on that topic. When I read the article, it just made my hamster wheel start spinning, and I kind of took it one step further, thinking, well, what is right? What should it be? And what is in our best interest? Sure Gamer asks what esport they'll gravitate. What game, if it's Formula One we're talking about, where are they going to gravitate to? What are they going to use for the championship? And that is a great question. And this topic could be an hour-long discussion in its own. F1 2017 is the only game that has the licensed rights to have all the cars, all the tracks, all the names. So if you're looking to emulate exactly what they're doing one-to-one, they are the only ones that can do it, and yet they're pretty down the list when it comes to sim. So if we're going to look at sim as an esport, and, you know, that's a whole other debate. What sim should be the proper esport? Should it be what we consider the best as a sim, or should it be what the general mainstream. You know, in the fighter game, Street Fighter is one of the biggest of all time. It's not grounded in reality. It's far from a sim. Even, you know, I don't think any shooter is really a sim, but even compared to a Call of Duty, look at the differences there. But I'm not sure. This is stuff that needs to be thought out, and my fear is that it's being done the wrong direction. That the money, the organizations that are currently doing esports are the ones who are going to control this. I don't see how a sim racing esport division is going to grow on its own to the same ranks as the existing gaming channels that are out there. So, I don't know. There's a lot to be decided in the future, and as you guys know, as loyal fans, as part of the pit crew, I've been preaching it. 2018, this is the year of sim racing motorsport. This will be. We've got a little taste of it here in 2017, but it's gonna go through the roof. Excuse me. Next up, and still on the same topic, WRC Esport Final. We talked about that over the last few days. It is to be shown on Motorsport TV and Autosport. So, you know, it's coming, you guys. It's going to be on your regular television. And, you know, because we're so we're so internet. I don't know the whole E thing. Someone can explain to me how E is the word for internet, or is E for anything new? I mean, E, you know, cars, E. I don't understand the whole E economy. I understand that in the case of the Prius. But someone please feel free to let me know what you know there. But yeah, this is going to be a big year of esports. Have you seen it? No, I did notice there was an update, so I got to check that out. Rallycross already a patch, and that's what I talked about before they launched. Usually we see the launch, and then we usually see an update or two over the next following week to fine-tune things. Barry says sim racing is going to get taken over by some evil entity, and I do believe that at the top, that is true. I really do. Electric. Thank you. Evil. Stan is the one who got it right. You guys were all great guesses. Stan got it right with it being evil. I don't mean that. I'm actually a pretty big fan of everything modern and new. So, anyway, all right, moving on. This is, again, staying with the whole topic of E, and this is a geek reply. And Bitcoin is no longer accepted as payment on Steam, which I find very interesting. I'm not sure, and I didn't read the article because I'm not a huge Bitcoin guy, but I do remember when I was in Vegas recently, there were a couple of casinos that were actually accepting Bitcoin at the casino. Now, I think you had to give them Bitcoin, convert it into chips or dollars, whatever, but they were accepting it. This is a big topic, and we talk about the future of even gaming. Electronic e-currency. There you go. I used it raw. Evil currency. E is the new I. I agree. Dan, I love tacos. Used for tacos. Oh, you guys are awesome. Next up, this is a good and bad story. I can give you a positive and a negative spin. A few of you brought it up. Here we are at PretendRaceCars.net. And Austin Ognoski, who, a lot of you know, he races with us on the Sim Racing Series. And he's a very, very fast driver. And he's been known to have I'll just call it a controversial or notorious website called Pretend Race Cars. Mostly a written site, written stories. And I'm not going to say good or bad. He usually has a negative twist on his articles. And I think that's sort of... He even called it something about the worst site you could go to for sim racing. Do I talk to Billy Strange? Hi, Billy. Yes and no, Barry. Hi, Billy. So, anyway, but Austin has shut down the site as of today. And the reason he has is he's taken a job with Slightly Mad Studios, it looks like, SMS. So... as a conflict of interest to continue talking about other websites, other sim games, he actually has shut it down. So congratulations. That's why I say good and bad. Bad, it's never good to see a sim racing media site go away. We're all valuable to our industry. We all push the manufacturers to that next level. And on the other hand, congratulations for him of turning his love into a job. And go get him. Go get him, Austin. So congratulations on that. But it means one less site that we'll all be able to go see. So, and Austin, same thing. Hey, hi, Austin. I don't necessarily talk to him directly, but sure. We cross paths from time to time. We've run in a few races together. I know Austin. I know him like we all know each other. And same thing goes with Billy. And then my last story of the day before we move on to a few person things. Austin Ognosky, or I'm sure I'm butchering that. Another new wheel out of Thrustmaster. And for most of you, this is irrelevant. But maybe you have a kid, maybe you have a friend who's looking for a new PS4 wheel. This wheel is PC and PS4. It is an 8/10 scale replica, so it's a smaller wheel rim than some of the other ones. It's a cheapo. It's $99, so this is just a total starter wheel. And I'm not going to even, without even racing it, I am not recommending this to anybody. I'm just mentioning it because it's a wheel that they're coming out with. And, you know, they have been coming out with wheel after wheel after wheel. But basically, this is the T80 with a 488 GTP edition wheel on it. 8/10 scale. Looks cool. It's got that magneto switch. So it could be a good option if you're just looking for a wheel to throw on your PS4 instead of your dedicated PC sim rig, if that's your case. So that is it for today's news. Lots going on. I do have, you guys just asked about Mitchie. At 10 o'clock, so in 43 minutes, I'm going to have Mitchie on the show. We're not driving. Mitchie and Avid Chronic Racing have a big announcement that they're going to do. So we're going to do a live interview announcement at 10 o'clock today. And then beyond that, I'm not sure what streams Mitchie has. I have a couple planned. Me and Mitchie will have to work out our timing. Excuse me. But I will be doing a global rallycross. They switched to Daytona Short, which is a really... I haven't driven it yet. I drove it last night and had a blast, but wasn't ready to race. So I will do a race, and I'll probably stream that at some point today. It might even be tonight. And then tonight at 6 p.m., we have our Sim Racing Systems Battle of the Beamers race at Road America. And I am really looking forward to that. Had a pretty good practice session. I need to get one more practice session in before tonight's race. If I can get two, that would be great. So, yes, in 42 minutes now, we'll be back with that interview with Mitchie and a couple other special guests and a big announcement from Avid Chronic Racing. So all that is coming up at 10 o'clock. And again, tonight, Road America in the BMW M3 on GT2, BMW M3 GT2 car. So come out for that. I would much rather you race with us. So I did a video, do a search for Sim Racing Systems on the YouTube channel. It'll tell you everything you need to know on how to join Sim Racing Systems, how to download any content, how to join our practice server, and most importantly, how to join our race server. So please come out. We're having a lot of fun, and it is a blast in that series. A lot of help from the guys if you show up for practice, and I want to thank you guys for that. I want to thank Dennis, the big one, for the 24/7 server that we have always running, and most of all, I want to thank you guys, the pit crew, for being here, bringing the news, helping me talk about it, and just making it all possible. That's going to do it for today. This is the Simpit. I'm Sean Cole, and I'll see you on the track.